Welcome to the channel. I'm the Swedish dividend investor. Guys, we are closing in on my short-term goal of 250 subscribers. Thank you so much for the support. Every like and comment pushes my video to more viewers, and lately you guys have been awesome. If you're new here, we talk about dividend stocks and ETFs, and we do valuations, all with a sweet Swedish accent. So if that sounds like something you're into, make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you don't miss any updates, and leave a comment for the algo. Guys, yes guys, apparently it's quite the sausage fest here. Today we will set up a portfolio using stocks and ETFs to earn over 100 euros or freedom units per month. And what's a video from me without some spreadsheet autism? Enjoy! Alright, first we do some math. Calculate what we would need to invest to get a yearly dividend income is quite simple. So let's say we want 100 euros or dollars in monthly income. 100 times 12 is 1200. So now we have the yearly income. We can simply divide that by the percentage yield to get the amount we need to invest. So what does that mean? Say you only invest in one stock, yielding 5%. You would need to invest $24,000 or euros to get 100 per month. If you could invest in a stock or ETF yielding 12%, you would only need 10k. So my plan for today is to give you some ideas on how to plan your portfolio, both with some lower yielders, some moderate yielders and some high yielders. Let's get started with the lower yielders. Now, I've gone with some classic dividend names here, and I know they don't pay monthly. We are talking about an average of 100 per month. We have Procter Gamble with its 2.66% yield. Then we have Johnson & Johnson with its 3.47% yield. Starbucks with its 2.62% yield. And finally we have Coke with its 2.96% yield. Now I have done an average for the yield. And if we go back to the first page, we can simply enter 2.93%. So we would need about 41k invested to get 100 bucks per month on average. So diving back into the lower yields page, we can enter our capital, 41,000, allocation, let's go with an even split, so 25 to each holding, and bam! Now we can see the share count for each holding, dividends in dollars, and I also converted it to euros and Swedish crowns. And if we look at the grand total, we see 2.93% yield, 41k invested, $1,200.53 in yearly income. And at the bottom we can see how much per month on average we will get. $100.04 of dividend income. Pretty sweet. Alright, for the moderate yield, I've gone with some names I own and have talked about. We have Realty Income with 5.65% yield, Bristol-Myers Squibb with 5.29% yield, British American Tobacco with 6.12% yield, and Verizon with 6.5% yield. We can see the average yield is sitting at 5.89. Also, please, do not buy BTI with a 6.12% yield. They are pretty overvalued right now, and a fair yield would sit at 8 to 10% in my opinion. So this is just for an example. So as the last example, we go back to the first page and we enter 5.89 and voila! The amount to invest is 20,373.51. Let's round it up to 20,400. Back to the page, and as the last time, for simplicity, we go with 25% each and enter 20,400 in capital. And just like last time, we can see how many shares of each we will get. And on the grand total, we can see the invested amount is $20,400 with $1,201.68 in yearly income. And that comes out to $100.14 in average monthly income. Now, some numbers here are rounded out. An example of this is the share count. So you might have some small change left over after buying. This is just a spreadsheet to plan out stuff. Now, for the high yielders, I've decided to go a bit nuts. For this example, we're going to be using euros instead of freedom units. We're going to aim for a stupidly high yield here. Now, doing an entire portfolio like this is pretty mental. Don't do this. This could be a part of your portfolio, or maybe you just got a bonus and would want to see what you could get for your money. You get the point. We have two ETFs. QYLD, that's the Global X Nasdaq 100 covered call ETF, and XYLD, which is the Global X S&P 500 covered call ETF. QYLD has a 12-month trailing yield of 12.09%, and XYLD is sitting at 10.46%. The average yield, split evenly among them, is 11.28%. These ETFs are pretty special, since they pay dividends in dollars but are traded in euros. So I have converted the dividends to reflect the euro value. So let's head back to the main page and punch in 11.28. We would need to invest 10,638.30. So let's call it 10.7k euros. So we go back to the high yielders and we enter 50-50 split for the allocations, and we punch in 10,700 as capital. And there we have it. 10.7k invested, yield of 11.28%, yearly dividends of 1,206.70 euros. And at the bottom we could see we would be earning 100.56 euros per month on average. We also have the dollar amount, $115.89 per month. And we can always play around with this. Say you wanted $300 per month with a portfolio yield of 6%. We would need 60k invested. Or maybe you have a lot invested into lower yielders, say around 1%, like Apple or Walmart. Well, we can see that too. I think the best use of this model could maybe be a mix of all the yield cases. That would better reflect a portfolio. So if you want $300 per month, you could invest 41k into the low yielders, 20.4k into the moderate yielders, and 10.7k into high yielders. You would have invested 72.1k and get 3,600 in dividend income. You would have a yield on cost of 4.99%. Yes, I know. The high yielders are in euros, but you get the point. For your American guys, you have access to a lot of high yielding ETFs like SPYI and QQQI. And I do think QYLD and XYLD are yielding about the same in the States as in Europe. So yeah, I hope that sparked some thoughts in your head. I showed something similar in my video I sold everything. I like to do these models, sometimes just for fun, other times to plan ahead. I tell you what, if enough people ask for the spreadsheet, I could always make a version where you enter in a ticker and the dividend amount, just to play around with. So if you want that, make sure to comment down below and let me know. I would also encourage you guys to start creating your own spreadsheets to make different models, plan your household budgets and whatnot. It's pretty easy and it can be very fun. But guys, that's it for this one. If you liked the video, make sure to leave a like, comment for the algo, and if you want to help me reach my next milestone of 250 subs, make sure to subscribe for more dividend investing videos. I'm the Swedish dividend investor, and I will see you in the next one. Stay smart, stay patient, and keep stacking those dividends. Ha det gött!